Three, two, one.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Reset to Healthier Relationships, Sunday nights at 9. I am Coach Glenda here with my course manager, Mr. Rufus Carpenter. Rufus and I have created this format as a safe place to discuss trials, struggles, and victories in past and present relationships. This is not a one-size-fits-all open discussion. There is no topic too minor or major that we cannot discuss. We encourage everyone to participate and speak their truth. This is a non-judgmental zone, so talk as much or as little as you would like. Mr. Carpenter, can you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Okay, my name is Rufus Carpenter, but before I talk about myself, I want to say I appreciate everybody for being here tonight. Hey, Dr. Johnson. Hey, Gigi. Hey, Ava. You guys have been a study rock for us. You're some of the best audience in the world, and we appreciate you very much because this format of where you and 20 of your girlfriends are in your living room talking is a safe space that you can share your relationships and your experiences, and you don't know who you help. Sometimes just the mere fact of just hearing yourself say some of the things that you've held so deep and so near to your heart, and just to get it out is I'm telling you, it's a stress relief. The night's topic, it's one of the most important topics we've talked about since we started this, and it's definitely related to the stressors of life. And you just don't know. Having the support of this community means a lot to a lot of us. I've even learned so much here and I'm a relationship coach, but I've learned so much by being a part of this container because I've learned from the material that we interface with. I learned from you, and I learned from just the union of us doing this together. So you guys are awesome. You send in things you see in the community. You send in things you see on the internet and social media that matches what we do, and you keep us current. And I love you, appreciate you for that. Now, again, my name is Rufus Carpenter. I'm the co-host here at Sunday Night at 9, and I'm also part of Glenda's full service relationship coaching practice. So I'm just happy to be a part of this. My relationship and my interests in the relationship coaching arena is a little different than most. I came to this as a family, in a family of 14. We were a poor family, 14, but we were happy, and we all worked together. And matter of fact, that's where I got my start because it was 14 in a family. In a family, we had a 3 bedroom, 1 bathroom house, and everybody had to pitch in. And I remember one weekend when I went out and I picked up pop bottles along the road. I helped people cut wood. I raked grass, and I did errands for people. And that whole weekend, I made $35. So when I went and collected my money on Sunday evening from everybody, I had $35 and some cents. And I ran to my mom and I gave it to her, and she just was so happy, and she hugged and kissed me, and she told me how proud she was, and she gave me like $1.25 of it. It's like, honey, you spend on yourself. And that moment right there changed my life. From that point on, I became what's called a helper because I always wanted to contribute because I felt the sense of purpose. I felt so good that has carried me all my life. So that was the start, but it didn't stop there. I was married 27 years, and for those 27 years, I learned the thing about respect. I learned the thing about communication. I learned about boundaries. I doggone sure learned about compromise. But these are the things not necessary for a great marriage or a great relationship, but these are the things for the human connection and how to have a deeper connection and bond with somebody. Story didn't stop there. I joined the United States Army. And while I was in the Army, one of the jobs I had in the Army was a human relation and race relation leader, where I had the responsibility of going to any unit within our organization, and I'd investigate any relationship problems or race problems. And I would determine what type of resources we had to throw towards solving that issue. Uh, and the night, like I said, when I first started, the our basic person or audience here is females, ladies in the age of 30 to 65 years old. But I'm a male here, so I'm bringing up the male perspective because sometimes when you can get to where women can ask men frank questions and get an honest answer without any kind of harassment or any kind of guilt or any kind of shame or blame, it's valuable. So I'm here to uphold the male end of this. Glenda, back to you.
Thank you so much. Okay, everyone, tonight's topic is nurturing emotional well-being, self-care and romantics. So let me repeat it one more time: nurturing emotional well-being, self-care for romantics. So I want to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, that's on tonight. Um, does anyone online tonight have they have anything already in place that they do for as far as their self-care? Do they have a day set aside during the week where they either go get their nails and hair done, or if they go to the barbershop and that's their downtime and they just chill by themselves, going to get their hair or just going to get a haircut, or if they have they either go shopping, go walking at the outlets. Does anyone online do anything and they call it their personal me time?
I think while we're waiting for people to chime in, because the night's a great night. And be honest with you, since we've been operating now for about a little less than a year of this Sunday night at 9, and the night is one of the most, if not the most important topics we've had. This tonight is one of the most important we had as a community, because this time of year, especially the Thanksgiving and Christmas time frame, more people commit suicide than any other time in the year. And they do it for several reasons. Some is for loneliness, and some is that they don't have the relationship that they need, or they don't feel they're being respected in a relationship. Emotional well-being is really mental health. It's really, really mental health. And if you know somebody that you've seen that they have lost it because of relationship, and it's been proven that 1 out of 5 suicides are now involved in some type of relationship or relationship stress. So 20% as of I think the report was April 2023, 20% of all suicides was relationship related. So if that's the case, if people are killing themselves because of relationships, something has to be done, because one death is too many. So we have to realize that, and I don't know if you've ever been affected by a relationship. I know if not just a breakup, but sometimes just knowing that you're not being treated equally or with respect in a relationship, sometimes we get you. Sometimes not even getting your thought across. Sometimes not being respected enough for your partner or spouse or your boo just to hear you out or to make you feel like you're part of the relationship. Tonight, we have so many different things that we can talk about this tonight. So get involved tonight, share. Let us know some of the things that you've experienced and how do you keep yourself balanced? What are the things and techniques that you use, whether it's journaling or whether it's yoga or whether it's just reflecting time. Let's share tonight. Let us share these nuggets on how we keep ourselves sane in relationships. Because now, you're never gonna find the perfect person. Even if you're in a great relationship, all relationships erode in time. That's just the way the world works. Mm-hmm. The writer James in the Bible said, in this world, we will have trouble. When trouble and diverse temptations and trouble come upon you. I've learned to count it all joy. So that's some of my self help or self-love or self-care. How do you deal with it? Let's open it up. Let's talk. Who wants to be first to share how they relate to this? Because we need everybody's advice in this tonight.
Well, I know that I journal. I try to journal 3 times a week, and it works out for me. It allows me to vent. without having any interruptions from someone when I'm talking. Someone say, well, that's not true. You shouldn't look at it that way. No, when I write out in my journal what I'm feeling, what I experience, it's my outlet.
Mm-hmm.
I use that as my outlet. Anybody else want to share what their outlet has been?
How do you stay balanced in relationships or out of relationships? Even if you're single, even if you're not married or not currently dating somebody, how do you manage that? What do you do? What are some of your practices on how do you stay sane and how do you keep your emotions in check? Because I know people have pity parties. I know people when you're by yourself alone and you're in your house, whether it's you're tired of looking at the TV or the radio don't soothe you anymore. How do you manage that?
Andre put in the chat, he said he people watch to rest my mind sometimes. And I was asking him to elaborate on that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Andre, what do you when you say that?
So I don't know if you've ever heard of the term people watch, but sometimes if you just go to the park and you just watch people, watch their interactions with each other, and you kind of, believe it or not, you can kind of rest your mind observing people. So like when I went to New York last year to Times Square, I just sat out and just observed people. I observed them and they didn't really know I was observing them. So you get a chance to see them in their authentic selves, good and bad. You get to see them interact with each other. You just get to learn a lot from just observing people.
Okay.
Yep. Because the Bible said they observe ants. So if you can learn it from ants, I'm sure you can learn it from people. So you're right. You're definitely right there. You're definitely right. And you got to realize something. How do you stay grounded? How do you stay balanced? How do you recharge yourself? How do you de-stress? How do you get back to the center? What do you do? Because even I know not only just relationships stress you, the job, the outside environment, the traffic, just driving down the highway, getting from A to B. If you have children, if you have friends, if you have family members that just wear you out. There's so much. When you talk about emotions, there's not so much your emotion, your partners every time, but how do you stay balanced? What are some of your techniques? What are some of the rough times? What are some of the times when you just don't have a clue how you're going to get through it?
Now,
No, let Dr. Johnson speak.
oh, okay, go ahead.
Good, Dr. Johnson.
Just go sit by myself. I separate myself from the situation, and how I balance it out now. I don't take on everything. If it's nonsense, I just leave it alone. I don't even respond. And I like going to the water, and I like crocheting and putting puzzles together.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So that's your me time, and that time you use get your own self regulated. The emotional intelligence. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Now, Gigi said that she go to the beach.
Oh, she like me. I love the water too. The water calms me for some reason. So that's awesome. That's awesome. You can reflect because a lot of times we're so programmed. We're programmed outside of the house and inside the home. And if you have your spouse or your boo home waiting on you and you get with them, and sometimes they overwhelm you. Time you open the door and come in, they overwhelm you. Hey, I've been waiting to get home because I haven't eaten. You need to provide this. Or hey, look, we got a financial issue with the bank, or and then you really don't want to hear that. You're saying, just give me a minute. Just let me take my shirt off, or let me take my jacket off, or let me lay my pocketbook down, or let me just sit for a minute and just say, woo. How do you handle these things? Because a lot of times your partner, your spouse, or your boo, even if there's someone that you don't live with, they have expectations. They pull on you.
Yeah.
And you can't be everything, they're every in all things. Because in a relationship, one of the most important things is how do you still be yourself? How do you not get lost in a relationship? How do you have that self-identity? Because, for instance, if I had a wife, I want her to be called by her name. I don't want her to be called Rufus' wife. you know, think about it. A lot of times, you John's wife, or are you Sally's husband? I had to have a self-identity.
Right.
You don't know what affect people mentally in relationships. You just don't know what the triggers are in relationships. One minute you can be fine, feeling really good, and a trigger come across and bam, man, woe is me. You can't get out of bed, you got depression, you don't want to do anything, seem like the whole world is on your shoulders. And then sometimes I've seen people that even when things go right, they still have emotional problems because their thing is, it's too good to be true. Something got to be happening. Everything's going right. So I know, I'm just waiting for it to happen. He said, wait a minute, now just enjoy the good time.
Right.
They said,
I've been in that situation.
Yeah, when it's this good, right around the corner, I'm just getting set up for a setup. I said, come on. I've seen it all. Like Andre said, he watched people go to New York, watch people. I watch people in front of me in my life every day. Because I'm very observant. And a lot of times I talk sometimes not just to get my point across, just to get people open up so I can glean from them what's important to them. And as we go further in this right here today, we're going to talk about weekly checkups or weekly check-ins. When you get to ask your spouse, significant other, family member, whoever you love or whoever you're interested in, you get to ask them, how are we doing as a couple?
Oh,
how are we doing as in a relationship? How are you doing in this relationship? Do you feel like you're valued? Do you feel like you've been heard? Do you feel like you're important? Do you feel like you make, do I make you feel like you make a difference? And then and some things been brought to my attention that, hey, do I make it clear? Am I spreading confusion? And because to be somewhere and be confused and you're in a relationship, be confused, that's not a good feeling because you don't know how to proceed. So all of these things are things that happen every day in relationships. When that term conflict resolution, for a long time, I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know it meant solving problems and dealing with problems. I thought it was some foreign, I didn't know. But how do you negotiate problems? Because problems in relationships not always bad. Sometimes problems in relationship help you grow.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they help you guys grow, and they give you a chance to work side by side and putting your shoulder to the plow with your mate or your boo, and y'all solve this together. And you guys look back and say, "Man, we accomplished something. We climbed that mountain." So we've got a long study guide. We got about 16 pages of stuff to cover, but we're not going to cover all that. But what we want to cover the main stuff in the fact that when you're talking about emotional health, you're talking about how you're feeling, how you feel about yourself, how do you feel about a relationship, how do you feel about your partner, how do you feel about your future, how do you feel about where you're going in a relationship? Do you feel stagnant? Do you feel like you're moving? Do you feel like you're not progressing fast enough? Do you feel like you're leaving something on the table? So these are the things we want to talk about tonight. We want to have a frank, open, honest conversation. We're going to talk for about 20, 30 minutes, and we want everybody to get involved and let us know. Because you don't know who you're helping tonight. Because I may deal with it. I may be able to deal with the emotional baggage a little different than you are. I might be able to say, okay, hey, look, I know how to separate it out. That I can put this in the department over here and put it over there, and I'm fine. Whereas somebody beside me might say, well, this is killing me. Every time I get rejection or every time I don't have an answer, every time it's not clear to me where we're going, I shrink, I shut down. my partner don't have no empathy for me. My partner, I tell my partner I'm going through something, and he talking about put your big girl drawers on or man up.
Right.
I'm struggling, and talking about man up. Or put your big girl drawers on. What the heck is that?
Yeah. It sounds like they just want you to suck it up and just go along with it. You'll find a way to work through it.
But if you've been 3, 4, 5 years somebody and you've been sucking it up, you down on fumes right about now.
Sure are. I will agree.
Yeah. So that's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about tonight. How do you handle those situations? What are some of the things you've noticed that work for you? Or what are some of the things you tried that didn't work? I tried to be a people's pleaser. I tried to, okay, baby, whatever you say, we're going to do it. No problem. I got you. We're going to do it. Just tell me I got it. That worked for a little while. And the more I said I got it, the more I had to get it. So I said, whoa.
That wasn't realistic.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. One of the best things you can find someone that you're equally yoked with, and you and them can understand each other. And they not only are they concerned about themselves, they're concerned about your emotional well-being too. Where they actually help you. They actually set aside time to work with you and ask you honest questions about how you're doing in this relationship. How do you feel about a relationship? Do you feel our relationship are going the way it's supposed to be going? Are you getting what you need from this relationship? Not what are you getting what you need from me, but are you getting what you need from this relationship? Because I tell you, let me ask some basic question. Somebody help me out. What are you looking for in a relationship? If you're a woman and you feel that you want to be with somebody, and you want to be with your boo, you want to be booed up, what is that? What are you looking for? Can a lady share with me other than Glenda? I don't want Glenda to share. Go ahead, Angela. You want to share?
No, I'm trying to get my thoughts together.
Oh, I saw your light come on. That's why I asked. I'm sorry.
I was laughing.
Okay. Annette, you're here today. When you talk about and because I know Annette, I know you seem to have a handle on this kind of stuff. How do you handle your emotions and your emotional stability and your emotional saneness in relationships, Annette? How do you stay balanced?
That's kind of cool. I don't know. It's difficult sometimes. I pull myself away from a lot of things. It's like I've been so more invested into other people and trying to make things perfect and trying to do the right thing. And I lose myself in that way. So what I've decided to do for myself is I pull away from me. I go and I read, I go walking, I just do what I like to do. I pick things that relaxes me. I go to the library. I go to physical exercises. I do me to me stuff because other than that, I find that I care. I care a lot. When I care a lot. And sometimes it gets overwhelming and people take it, they just give you everything, and it's a bit too much sometimes. So I just have to pull back. And I just do those type of things. I do simple things. I color in a coloring book. You sit there and be talking to me. I'll start playing cards, or I'll sing a song, or I'll do things, and then get you to do it too. So so we doing this together, but it's more relaxing, and I try to do things that's not so stressful or don't require us to have to go places for money or stuff like that. Simple things. That's what I do.
What I like about what you said you pull back, you don't shut down. And that
No, I
makes
don't.
all the difference in the world. When you shut down, nothing happens. You don't improve or they don't improve. But when you pull back, like you said, and you let them see you moving on and let them, if they want to join, they can, or you invite them to join, that means you're moving forward. So that's awesome. So thanks for sharing that. That's a good way of looking at it. That's awesome. That's awesome, because I know one of my things I shut down. I either shut down or give in, one or the other. I said, okay, you win. Hey, what you want me to do? Just tell me. Just tell me. I'm a wet noodle. Just tell me. So yeah, and which is not good, because I'm sacrificing my own emotional well-being. And if I hooked up to a taker, I'm really in trouble. Because a taker don't give a darn how you feel. That's all they worried about is their feelings. And they're trying to get as much as they can, as long as they can, how they can.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things you really have to, if you're a giver and you connect it to a taker, your emotions will really take a whipping. You will really get used, because if you're a giver and you keep giving and you can never get that person satisfied, seems like the more you give, the more you still have to give, and there's no end in sight. You get what's called a burnout quick, and you get frustrated, because you're saying it don't take, when they say don't take all that, you should have gotten some kind of even keel. But takers don't realize that. Takers don't stop taking. They don't say, well, hey, I've taken, they've contributed all this, and, it's not, I want to be fair, and now it's my turn. They don't understand that part. They don't understand my turn part. And that's bad. And that's bad. That's bad. All right. Any additional thing, Glenn? Let's do one of the illustrations of one of the examples, and then we'll come back, because we've got some great examples, and examples actually tell you real world. As a matter of fact, this right here, this nurturing emotional well-being and self-care for romantics. This is one of our true study guides that we really stacked it kind of deep, where this gives you some good things that you can do for self-care and for your emotional health. Because this time of year, we want to have the resources available to you, so that way if you feel like you're drowning, or if you feel like it's not going the way you want to go, or if you had death in the family, because now with the COVID, we've lost so many. There's so many people. I'm going to Google when Glenda get to talking again. I'm going to Google how many people die a day in America. I'm going to Google that number and see what that number is, because since COVID, that number is out of sight. And because of that, there's a lot of sadness. There's a lot of emotional grief that we carry. And we need to get on top of this now. And that's why it's important. That's why today's topic is so important. All right, Glenda, you want to do one of the examples, and then while you're doing that, I'll Google that, how many people die a day in America.
No problem. Okay, we have Tamika, a 42-year-old business owner, found herself feeling distant from her partner of 15 years. She realized that stress from her demanding work schedule was affecting her emotional availability. By seeking therapy, Tamika worked on identifying triggers and practicing emotional regulation techniques. Simultaneously, she began journaling and carving out time for yoga to reconnect with herself. As she became more attuned to her emotions, she started sharing her feelings more openly with her partner. This emotional transparency brought them closer, creating a stronger, more balanced relationship where both partners felt and seen and both partners felt seen and valued. So, based off that illustration, I see that Tamika, excuse me, Tamika was experiencing a lot of stress from her demanding job, which caused some issues in her relationship. And I know a lot of times, I know as far as myself, I've always, for several years, have worked multiple jobs, and it was a strain on my relationship trying to juggle two jobs and a family. But eventually, I had to find a way to still, take time out for myself so I can stay sane and productive, even in my family and in my relationship. So with Tamika, she started let's see, she started carving out time for herself to do yoga. Yoga is great for meditation as well as, you can get a good stretch out of it because I know a lot of people when they go to work, they sit down for long periods of time and your back start hurting. So yoga is not only good for, a great workout, it's also great for meditation and stress relief, to be honest. I know that I've tried that myself in the past, as well as what else did she do? She started journaling. Journaling is also a great outlet that we can do to, to vent, to talk about your day, what's right, what's wrong, what good happened today. And I know a lot of people that they journal because that's their outlet to express themselves without interruptions. Because sometimes when you're talking to your girlfriend or even your partner, someone always interrupts you. Someone always has something extra to say to try to, tell you, you shouldn't talk that way, or you shouldn't say it like that. You really didn't mean that. Yes, I meant exactly what I said and how I said it. So journaling is also a great technique to, vent and, let your feelings out without being judged by someone else. Now, does anyone have any examples of how they reconnect with themselves outside of journaling and maybe, and yoga, like Tamika?
What I started doing with my prayers, I really started praying to God and explaining my emotions. How I feel about it, what I'm going through, and it really has helped.
Okay.
And what I like about that example you did about Tamika, the emotional transparency.
Mhm.
Her and her boo, she was able to explain that. They were able to see that balance in that. Because a
Mhm.
lot of times, if you don't know how your person feel emotional, or if you don't care, if you don't notice, because sometimes you can be sitting with a person day in, day out, and you don't know they're going through anything. You don't
Mhm.
know their condition. You don't know their trouble, especially if you're not trying to know. So it's very important that you have that transparency, that because it's the one thing being in a relationship and you don't know what's going on with the other person, and this is supposed to be your person. This is supposed to be your boo or your friend or your family member or your somebody, or your closest friend or your best friend.
Yes,
You know,
transparency is key because you're not a mind reader.
correct, correct,
But some
correct.
people just, some relationships, one person just won't open up and talk. I mean, you can't make them.
You're right. You're right. And I got to tell you, since we've been on this call, some of you on this call, I've gotten to be very good friends with now. I'm concerned about how you feel and how you doing. And when I speak to you online or offline, when we're not talking on here, I'm really concerned. I really care. So that makes me realize, because I want to know that makes me realize the connection we have. Because this container right here, to believe it or not, what we're doing tonight, what Sunday night at 9 does, is exactly what this thing is tonight. Because one of the fixes, or one of the examples that we have in here, is having the community support. And the community support is what Sunday night at 9 is all about. It's about community support. It's getting with somewhere where you can talk and share your truth. without feeling unsafe, or without worrying about anybody that's just going to judge you, or anybody that's going to go and talk about here's what Ava talked about last night, or here's what Gigi wanted everybody to know, or here's what Andre said was important to him. You don't have to worry about that. When you say something, what's on my mind is, how can I use that for me? How can I use that to better the program? How can I use that to further my own reach in life? We're here all investing in each other. Yeah, we have different backgrounds, different social economics. We got different booze and different mindsets and different desires in people, or different types of people. But we all have the basic things. We all want to be loved, or we want to love. Even if we're by ourselves, we still want to feel like we feel special. We want to feel like somebody care about us. We want it, and we care about people. So that's why this is so important tonight. Tonight we want to make sure that we can transition, or we can, if not so much transition, we can actually get our emotional state so much better. And one of our goals is to make it where you control that. You don't have to get somebody else to make you happy. That's what this is all about. This is about getting your emotions so in check that you can do the things that make yourself happy. You can do the self-care. You can do the self-reflection. Like Annette said, you can walk, or you can take time out by yourself and pull back and make you a priority. If the other person won't make you a priority, you make you a priority.
Right.
That's, I'm sorry, my light's going to put you away now. I'm visiting for the holidays. I'm in the Washington, D.C. area visiting. And this is not my normal setup. So I got to kind of makeshift so things will fall, and I had to put it back. I'm with my son in D.C. with his family. We're having a ball, by the way. But that's some of the things that's very, very important. Because I'm sure all of us have had some type of trauma. We've had someone in our life that thought that they knew more than we did, or thought they could take advantage of us, and they used us. And we, being the good-hearted people that we are, we gave all we could, and we thought that if we love them a little harder, or we open up a little bit more, or we did extra things, or we went along with everything they said, that it would get better. But it didn't. And those relationships we either got away from them by them leaving us, or we left them, or it just came to a place we just had to say, I can't do this no more. I'm tapping out. So we all have that kind of trauma. And some are more traumatized than others. So how do we rebuild from that? How do we take those scars that we had and make them badges of honor? And know that we learned. We grew. We're doing this thing. We're moving forward, man. We're resilient. We bounce back. We got knocked down, but we didn't stay down. And now we're back. Now, not only that we didn't stay down, we're ready to be a blessing to somebody else. We're ready to tell someone else, if I can do it, you can do it. I read Glenda's book last week. And matter of fact, and I read it, and I like the way she wrote it, because she actually told her story. She didn't hold much back. She actually told it. And one thing she got in there where it says, I think she was on the floor or something, and she had to make a decision about whether she was going to buy groceries or put heat on or something. And those kind of things, people don't tell those stories. People don't tell that. So I applaud her for sharing that. I applaud her for that. So those are the type of things that I'm talking about. How do you go? Because a lot of when I see you guys now, I see you're beautiful. You got all these titles. You look really nice. I see you now. I don't know your backstory.
Right.
I don't know your backstory. I don't know how you survived, or what you went through, or how the grace of God, or how just being at the right place at the right time, or somebody just reached back and pulled you up. I don't know those stories. but I know we all have a testimony.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't want to do all the talking because we've got about 15 minutes left, and I want to make sure everybody have a chance to get out what they want to get out, and everybody want to contribute, because you might have a unique way that you recharge your batteries, that you rejuvenate, that you distress, that you set aside or you check in. You might have something unique that works for you. Share with us so we all can look at that and we can put it in our toolbox. Because with these Sunday night at 9, we're building a relationship toolbox. We're giving you the things that you need in order to empower yourself. At the same time, you bring in new skills to the board that we may not be aware of. Because today I got someone text me something, and I went and saw the text, and man, it was awesome. You know, I thought I knew part of it, but I didn't know the whole story. So now I got my part, and I got the other part I learned today. So I'm a little ahead of the game now. So there's so much that we have that we need to do, because as a matter of fact, when we go to Leesburg in June, we're going to have the first relationship trivia contest. And a lot of what we're doing in Sunday Night 9 going to be some of the questions. And hopefully we're going to have some great prizes and winners. And what we want to do this as an annual thing. And when I hear some of you talk, I've talked to some of you away from Sunday Night at 9, and I notice your dialogue has changed. You're actually talking about some of these things now. So I see it's resonating. Mm-hmm. It's resonating now. So I really appreciate that. So, all right, Glenda, what's next on the agenda here?
Well, I want to do another example to see if some of the participants can join in and speak their truth. Okay. We have Angela, a 50-year-old teacher, noticed she was losing herself in a routine of supporting her husband and adult children. Feeling emotionally drained, she joined a support group for women that started engaging in weekly meditation sessions. Okay. These activities helped her regain confidence and recognize her own needs. Angela then initiated open conversations with her family about her boundaries and began dedicating time to personal interests like painting and gardening. As for her emotional health improved, her partner became more supportive and understanding, strengthening their bond and fostering mutual respect. So that example comes from prioritizing self-care to strengthen partnership. Angela noticed that she was losing herself just by supporting her family, her husband, and her grown children, and it prompted her to go and join a support group where they started having weekly meditation sessions. And after a while, she regained her confidence and recognized that her own personal needs, because she was drowning in her family. And she started gardening and painting as one of her, her outlets, so she can practice her own self-care and be a better her for her family. So I can relate to Angela's scenario pretty much, because I know that a lot of women, once we get married and start having children, it's no longer me, it's always us, and we can lose ourselves and our families very quickly. And you should never lose your individuality or yourself trying to cater to everybody else, because at the end of the day, you still need to be happy whether or not you have a family or not. So anyone want to share any self-care techniques that they've used that help them in their relationships?
What Andre say, men can lose themselves? What's that, Andre? Explain that to me, Andre.
Basically, when Glenda was sharing her point about how women could lose themselves in the us conversation, I was thinking about how some fathers sometimes could lose themselves as well, because if a father is known to be the provider, and they're having this mentality that they have to provide all the time, Then when their little boo thing comes around and let them know that he don't have to provide, he can just relax, then he feels a little bit at ease. And that could be some of the reasons I was saying that maybe some men might cheat, because women don't recognize that the man might be burnt out in a sense.
Yeah, that happens.
Yes.
That happens.
And you're right, and that's both sides of the fence.
Mm-hmm.
That's both sides. Anybody want to speak to that before I weigh in on that one?
I would like to say something. So this is Annette again. So when Glenda was given that scenario and reference to family, it made me think about something that I do. I picked 1 year from January to December. I have a family, it's a lot of girl family, and I picked the time for them that they knew beginning that year, every Wednesday was my day for me. Because we had so many, dealing with so many of their problems and so many things, issues, that I just needed me time. So I had them to understand that on Wednesday, whatever your problem is or whatever the situation is or whatever it needs, you don't involve me. You leave me completely out of it. You contact me on Tuesday or Thursday or whatever, or send me a note and I just won't respond. But I've gotten it, but you don't get to hear from me on that day because this is my day. So that's what I had done with my family, and it worked. I had one that say, well, I know this is your day, but so I just cut that. I said, if you need me to get your message, send me a text or whatever you need to do, but you still not gonna get a response from me even through your text. It's my day. I did that.
That's great boundary.
Awesome. That's awesome. That is awesome, man. You got some great practices. You got some great self-care and emotional practices in that. So that's great. That is awesome. Now, anybody else want to share before I talk about what Andre said? Okay. When Andre said that's true, men feel the way and women feel the same exact way. Because for me, I noticed when I was married, and that was my helper mentality also. I noticed when I was married, when I actually took time to help my wife with some of the chores she would do around the house, I would scrub the floor, or I would wash dishes, or I'd cook a couple nights a week, or I would say I do the laundry or something a couple nights a week. I noticed that it took a lot of pressure off her. And I noticed that not only took a lot of pressure off her, but she began to appreciate me more. And I started getting little perks because of that. So it made me work a little harder to take some of the pressure off her, who in turn gave her, because she had a job also. Now she didn't work the hours I worked, but she still had a job. So she had to manage her job that she worked, and she had to come home and manage the kids and manage the house. So she had a full load too. So because I came in and pitched in, and I wouldn't ask her what she needed, I would just go to work. I would scrub the floor or wash or cook or something like that. Now I never ironed. I hated to iron. That's something I wouldn't do. But I did the other stuff. Mm-hmm. And it really helped. It really helped. So the same thing. So if a woman's burden with her normal stuff and a man's burden, if you're the other spouse, please help out. You'll be surprised the dividends you get and how it make a major difference. Because a lot of time when you have your spouse, your boo, they won't tell you they're upset with you. They won't tell you they're cussing you out under their breath. They will keep that to themselves. And you might never know. You think everything is peachy and cream, but no, it ain't.
Right.
No, it ain't. They just don't tell you. They call you all kind of names under their breath. And you think everything is fine. But when you pitch in and help, they really appreciate it. Some tell you, hey, I really appreciate it, and they show you little things, and some won't. But when you have your own house, you want to make sure your own house is run well, and you want to be a helpmate and a helper, and you want to be someone that makes a difference in your house. Because when you go outside your doors, you fight the whole world. You come home, you want to come home to something that that something that's a palace or your kingdom or your queendom or whatever, however you want to see it. You want to know that there is love in them doors. If you can just get to your door, people say, if I can just get in the church doors, but sometimes if you can get in your own doors, sometimes it makes a difference. Okay. All right, we're gonna start reeling this in. Anybody on the line have anything they want to say, or any comments or any suggestions they got that's gonna make this thing called Sunday Night at 9 go better? Because we're getting ready to start moving towards the 2025 year, and we were going to do the Black Fridays, but we've got a couple snags on a couple things, so we're probably going to do the Cyber Monday through December. So our Black Friday sales is going to go through a whole month of December. It's going to be our Black Friday sales, and we've got some great things, but great things require a lot of work. And being on road holidays don't give you a chance to get all the work in. So we still got stuff in store, but a lot of stuff is in the mail because mail for some reason don't come like it used to come. Now mail says it's gonna be there Friday. You might see it next Friday. So right now, all of our stuff is still in the mail. So once we get all that sorted out, we'll get it to you and let you know. But we're still gonna do the Black Friday. We're just gonna call it maybe a blue and brown and black December. So it come through. But anybody got anything they want to say? Oh yeah, I think some of you guys have read Glenda's book already, right? Who's got Glenda's book already? I know I've got it. I read it. You read it, Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Yeah. And I know when I read it, some things I didn't really know about Glenda, because I've been knowing Glenda for years, but some things I didn't know about her. I didn't realize she struggled like that to get to where she are. But yeah, so I read a lot of things in there that I didn't know. I remember when I first heard her story about 2 years ago, about 2 or 3 years ago, I heard her story and I said, wow, Glenda, you got a powerful story. We need to do something with that. But now that it's out in the book, it's like, wow, that's interesting. What are some of the things you got out of the book, Dr. Johnson?
Well, her story, her being transparent, and the exercises, that she gives to help people. And also reading the book and seeing her on Sunday Night Live is like, I know her, but but it's real, it's practical, and it's relatable.
Awesome. So great job, Glenda. Let's go. Can y'all share with me, give Glenda a hand on and congratulations on her first book. Congratulations, Glenda. Hey, great job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, now she's gonna get 100 of those books and she's gonna sell them for $9.99 because on they're $13.99. She's gonna sell them from $9.99. What she's gonna do, she's gonna take her royalties and take it off and give you the book at $9.99. Because when you buy some from Amazon, she gets a royalty out of them. But what she wants to put the book in as many hands as she can. So she's got 100 of them that she's gonna sell for $9.99, cheaper than what the things will give you a discount. So that's awesome. Okay, all right, Glenda, let's wrap this up. Let's go home.
Okay. Well, you already know that we have the cruise that's coming up in October 2025. If you're interested, or even if you want to, let some of your friends and family know about the upcoming cruise in October 2025, we ask that you share. We're already on YouTube. If you don't mind, please like, share, and subscribe. And also we have the conference that's coming up in Leesburg, Florida in June 2025. So those are some of our upcoming events for the coming year. that I want you guys to, if you're able to, we would love to see you there. We're looking forward to an exciting and a very high time where we're going to have fun, food, games, all the above. And I would love to see some of my some of the participants, some of my participants from Sunday night at 9 to, be at some of the upcoming events. Also, Mr. Carpenter just stated that the book is out on Amazon, Rise Again. We have it in the Kindle version as well as the paperback version. So if you're interested, please go out there and buy it, or you can wait until we get the 100 books in our hands, and we don't mind mailing it to you. So outside of that, I do want to say I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know that someone said tonight they wasn't feeling 100% on Thanksgiving, but I can see that they made it through. I hope that you enjoyed your family during this time of the year. And if there's nothing else anyone has to add or comment on tonight's discussion, we're going to just go ahead and end on a high note.
See everybody next week. See you next week, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Rest well.
Good night.
Good night.